Racist manager insults waitress. Neymar teaches him a lesson he won't forget. How will this story unfold? To find out, watch the video to the end. But first, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to get more stories like this. The soft glow of candlelight mingled with the gentle clinking of fine china as patrons enjoyed their meals at the luxurious fine dining restaurant, Chateau Elegance. Among the impeccably dressed servers, Clara moved gracefully from table to table, her warm smile and attentive service putting even the most discerning guests at ease. Despite the opulent surroundings and wealthy clientele, Clara treated every customer with equal kindness and respect. She took pride in her work, knowing that her dedication and professionalism made a difference in each diner's experience. However, not everyone at Chateau Elegance shared Clara's values. The restaurant manager, Mr. Reynolds, held a firm belief that status and appearance determined a person's worth. He fawned over the rich and powerful, going to great lengths to ensure their satisfaction, while treating his own staff, especially those from humble backgrounds like Clara, with disdain and contempt. Clara, an immigrant who had worked tirelessly to build a life in this new country, often bore the brunt of Mr. Reynolds' mistreatment. He belittled her accent, criticized her work, and made it clear that he saw her as disposable. But Clara refused to let his cruelty break her spirit. She knew her own worth and remained committed to her job, hoping that her hard work would one day be recognized. One evening, as the dinner rush began to settle, a quietly dressed man entered the restaurant. He wore a simple hoodie and jeans, a stark contrast to the designer suits and cocktail dresses that typically graced Chateau Elegance. Mr. Reynolds, who was always quick to judge, immediately dismissed the man as unimportant. As Clara approached the table with a warm smile, ready to take the man's order, Mr. Reynolds intercepted her. "Why are you wasting your time on him?" he sneered loudly, ensuring that nearby diners could hear. "This place is for real VIPs, not street customers." The restaurant fell silent, an uncomfortable tension filling the air as patrons glanced awkwardly at the unfolding scene. Clara, embarrassed and apologetic, turned to the man, ready to express her regret for her manager's behavior. But to her surprise, the man simply gave her a reassuring nod, his expression calm and understanding. What Mr. Reynolds had failed to realize, in his haste to judge and dismiss, was that the unassuming man he had just insulted was none other than Neymar Jr., one of the most famous and respected footballers in the world. As the seconds ticked by, the tension in the air grew thicker. Patrons began to murmur, their hushed whispers carrying the name Neymar, as they recognized the iconic footballer sitting among them. The restaurant staff exchanged shocked glances, realizing the gravity of Mr. Reynolds' mistake. A waiter, his face drained of color, rushed to Mr. Reynolds' side and whispered urgently in his ear. Clara watched as her manager's expression transformed from smug superiority to sheer panic, his eyes widening in disbelief as the truth sank in. Mr. Neymar," Mr. Reynolds stammered, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and embarrassment. "I didn't recognize you. Please allow me to personally serve you. I'll ensure that your experience at Chateau Elegance is nothing short of exceptional." But Neymar, his demeanor calm and collected, simply smiled and shook his head. "No, thank you," he replied politely. "I'd rather be served by someone who treats everyone with respect, regardless of their appearance or status." His words hung in the air, a powerful statement that reverberated through the restaurant. Clara felt a surge of gratitude and admiration for the footballer who had chosen to stand up for her, a humble waitress, in the face of her manager's cruelty. Mr. Reynolds, his face flushed with humiliation, stood frozen as the restaurant erupted into a buzz of conversation. Diners exchanged knowing looks and nodded in approval, their respect for Neymar growing with each passing moment. Clara, emboldened by Neymar's support, stepped forward and addressed her manager directly. "Mr. Reynolds," she said, her voice steady and clear, "I will gladly take care of Mr. Neymar's table." As he said, everyone deserves to be treated with respect, regardless of their perceived status. Mr. Reynolds, unable to find words, simply nodded, his eyes lowered in shame. He retreated to the back of the restaurant, leaving Clara to attend to Neymar and his guests. As Clara took their orders and ensured their needs were met, she felt a newfound sense of confidence and purpose. For the first time since she had started working at Chateau Elegance, she felt truly valued and appreciated. Neymar, throughout the evening, treated Clara with the utmost kindness and respect. He engaged her in conversation, asking about her life and experiences, and listened attentively as she shared her story. Clara found herself opening up to him, revealing the challenges she had faced as an immigrant, the long hours she worked to support her family, and the constant mistreatment she endured from Mr. Reynolds. Neymar, his eyes filled with empathy and understanding, nodded along as she spoke. "No one deserves to be treated that way," he said softly. "Your hard work and dedication should be celebrated, not belittled." His words, spoken with such sincerity, brought tears to Clara's eyes. She had waited so long for someone to acknowledge her struggles and validate her worth. As the evening drew to a close and Neymar prepared to leave, he reached into his pocket and withdrew a small slip of paper. He handed it to Clara, a warm smile on his face. "Thank you for your excellent service tonight, Clara," he said. "I want you to know that your hard work does not go unnoticed. This is for you." Clara, her hands trembling, unfolded the paper to reveal a check for $10,000. Her eyes widened in disbelief, tears of joy and gratitude welling up as she realized the magnitude of Neymar's generosity. "Mr. Neymar, I don't know what to say," she stammered, her voice choked with emotion. "This is too much. I can't accept this." But Neymar simply shook his head, his smile never wavering. "You deserve it, Clara. Use it to create a better life for yourself and your family. And remember, you are worth so much more than how others treat you." With those parting words, Neymar exited the restaurant, leaving behind a stunned and grateful Clara, and a room full of diners who had witnessed the incredible power of kindness and respect. The morning after Neymar's visit to Chateau Elegance, the news of his extraordinary gesture spread like wildfire. Social media was abuzz with stories of the footballer's generosity and the waitress who had captured his attention. People from all walks of life praised Neymar for his humility and kindness, sharing the story as an example of how one person's actions could make a profound difference in another's life. The hashtag #NeymarInspires trended on Twitter, with fans and admirers expressing their respect and admiration for the footballer's character. However, not everyone was celebrating. Mr. Reynolds, the restaurant manager who had so callously mistreated Clara, found himself at the center of a growing storm of criticism. As details of his behavior towards his staff emerged, the public outcry intensified. Customers who had witnessed the incident firsthand took to social media to share their accounts, describing Mr. Reynolds' arrogance and lack of respect for his employees. They called for a boycott of Chateau Elegance, demanding that the management take action against the disgraced manager. The restaurant's owners, faced with mounting pressure and the potential loss of business, had no choice but to address the situation. They released a statement condemning Mr. Reynolds' actions and announcing his immediate termination. "At Chateau Elegance, we pride ourselves on providing exceptional service and creating a welcoming environment for all our guests," the statement read. "The behavior displayed by Mr. Reynolds is entirely unacceptable and does not reflect our values as an establishment. We sincerely apologize to our customers and staff, especially to Clara, for the mistreatment they have endured." The owners also announced that they would be implementing new policies and training programs to ensure that all employees were treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their background or position. Clara, overwhelmed by the outpouring of support, found herself at the center of a media frenzy. Journalists clamored for interviews, eager to hear her story and share her perspective on the events that had unfolded. At first, Clara was hesitant to speak out, fearing that the attention would be too much to handle. But as she thought about the countless others who had likely endured similar mistreatment in their workplaces, she realized that she had an opportunity to make a difference. With newfound courage, Clara accepted the interview requests, sharing her experiences and the challenges she had faced as an immigrant and a service worker. She spoke about the importance of treating others with kindness and respect, regardless of their status or position. "What happened to me is not unique," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "So many people, especially those in the service industry, face discrimination and mistreatment every day. It's time for us to stand up and demand change. We all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter who we are or where we come from. Clara's words resonated with people around the world, sparking a larger conversation about the treatment of service workers and the need for greater empathy and understanding in the workplace. As the days passed, Clara found herself inundated with job offers from restaurants and businesses that had been inspired by her story. They recognized her dedication, professionalism, and the strength of character she had displayed in the face of adversity. With the financial security provided by Neymar's generous tip, Clara was able to take her time and carefully consider her options. She knew that she wanted to work somewhere that valued its employees and fostered a culture of respect and inclusivity. After much deliberation, Clara accepted a position at a renowned restaurant known for its commitment to employee well-being and customer satisfaction. As she stepped through the doors on her first day, she felt a sense of excitement and hope for the future. She knew that her journey was far from over, but she was determined to use her voice and her experiences to make a positive impact on the world. With Neymar's support and the outpouring of love from people around the globe, Clara felt empowered to continue fighting for what was right, one small act of kindness at a time. As Clara settled into her new job, she quickly realized that the atmosphere was entirely different from what she had experienced at Chateau Elegance. Her colleagues welcomed her warmly, and the management team made it clear that they valued each and every employee, regardless of their position or background. Clara found herself thriving in this supportive environment, her natural talent for hospitality shining through as she connected with customers and went above and beyond to ensure their satisfaction. Her new manager, a kind and understanding woman named Sophie, recognized Clara's potential and began to mentor her, offering guidance and opportunities for growth. Meanwhile, the ripple effects of Neymar's act of kindness continued to spread. Inspired by the footballer's example, people around the world began sharing their own stories of generosity and standing up against injustice. The hashtag #PayItForwardLikeNeymar gained traction, with individuals performing random acts of kindness and encouraging others to do the same. Restaurants and businesses also took notice, many of them reevaluating their own practices and policies to ensure that they were creating a positive and inclusive work environment for their employees. Some even reached out to Clara, seeking her advice and insight on how they could better support their staff and promote a culture of respect. Clara, humbled by the opportunity to make a difference, began to speak at industry events and workshops, sharing her story and the lessons she had learned. She emphasized the importance of empathy, communication, and valuing every individual's contributions, regardless of their role or status. As her influence grew, Clara found herself increasingly involved in advocacy work, partnering with organizations that supported immigrant rights and workers' rights. She used her platform to raise awareness about the challenges faced by service workers and to push for systemic change in the industry. Neymar, who had been following Clara's journey from afar, couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and admiration for the young woman he had met that fateful night. He reached out to her, offering his continued support and encouragement, and the two formed an unlikely friendship based on their shared values and desire to make a positive impact on the world. One evening, as Clara was preparing to speak at a major industry conference, she received a surprise visit from Neymar himself. The footballer had flown in specifically to attend her talk, and he greeted her with a warm hug and a smile that lit up the room. "I'm so proud of you, Clara," he said, his voice filled with genuine affection. "You have taken the opportunity one gave you and turned it into something truly remarkable. You are an inspiration to so many people, myself included." Clara, tears in her eyes, thanked Neymar for his unwavering support. "None of this would have been possible without you," she said. "You believed in me when no one else did, and you gave me the courage to stand up for myself and for others. I will never forget that." Together, Clara and Neymar took the stage, sharing their story and the power of kindness, respect, and standing up for what is right. The audience, moved by their words and the incredible bond they had formed, gave them a standing ovation. As the conference came to a close, Clara and Neymar stepped out into the night air, the city lights twinkling around them. They knew that their work was far from over, that there were still countless challenges to be faced and battles to be fought. But they also knew that they had each other, and that together they could make a difference. With a final hug and a promise to stay in touch, Neymar and Clara parted ways, each ready to continue their journey of making the world a better place, one small act of kindness at a time. And as they walked away, they knew that the true measure of greatness was not in the accolades or the fame, but in the impact they had on the lives of others. They had both learned that lesson, and they would carry it with them always, a shining example of what could be achieved when we choose to lift each other up, rather than tear each other down. Years passed, and Clara's star continued to rise. She became a respected leader in the hospitality industry, known for her unwavering commitment to creating positive change and promoting a culture of respect and inclusivity. Her advocacy work took her around the world, speaking at conferences and working with organizations to improve the lives of service workers and fight against discrimination and injustice. She became a role model for countless individuals, inspiring them to stand up for their rights and pursue their dreams, no matter the obstacles they faced. Neymar, too, continued to use his platform and influence for good. He partnered with charities and foundations, using his resources to support education, poverty alleviation, and social justice causes. He never forgot the lesson he had learned that night at Chateau Elegance, that true greatness comes from lifting others up and using one's power to make a difference. The friendship between Clara and Neymar remained strong, a testament to the bond they had forged through their shared values and experiences. They met up whenever their busy schedules allowed, catching up on each other's lives and discussing new ways to make a positive impact on the world. As for Mr. Reynolds, the disgraced former manager of Chateau Elegance, his story served as a cautionary tale. After his termination, he struggled to find work in the industry, his reputation tarnished by his actions and the public backlash that followed. However, in a surprising turn of events, Mr. Reynolds reached out to Clara, seeking her forgiveness and guidance. He had undergone a profound transformation, realizing the error of his ways and the harm he had caused through his behavior. Clara, true to her nature, met with Mr. Reynolds and listened to his heartfelt apology. She saw the genuine remorse in his eyes and recognized that everyone deserves a chance to learn and grow from their mistakes. Together, they began to work on a new initiative, one that focused on promoting empathy, respect, and understanding in the workplace. Mr. Reynolds became an unlikely ally in the fight for workers' rights, using his own story as a powerful example of the importance of treating others with dignity and compassion. The initiative gained traction, and soon, businesses across the country were adopting its principles and practices. The service industry began to transform, becoming a more welcoming and supportive place for employees and customers alike. Clara and Neymar watched this change unfold with pride and gratitude, knowing that they had played a part in sparking this movement. They understood that change was not always easy, and that progress often came in small, incremental steps. But they also knew that every step mattered, and that each act of kindness and respect had the power to create ripples that would spread far beyond their own lives. As they looked to the future, Clara and Neymar knew that there would always be more work to be done, more challenges to be faced. But they also knew that they had the strength, the courage, and the support of each other and countless others who shared their vision for a better world. And so, they pressed on, guided by the knowledge that true greatness lies not in the spotlight or the accolades, but in the quiet, everyday acts of compassion and understanding that have the power to change lives and transform communities. Years turned into decades, and Clara and Neymar's legacies continued to grow. Their names became synonymous with kindness, respect, and the unwavering belief in the potential of every human being. Clara's advocacy work expanded, and she founded her own nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting and empowering service workers around the world. She worked tirelessly to provide education, resources, and opportunities to those who had been overlooked and undervalued for far too long. Neymar, even after retiring from professional football, never stopped using his platform for good. He established a foundation that focused on providing access to education and sports programs for underprivileged children, believing that every child deserved the chance to pursue their dreams and reach their full potential. Together, Clara and Neymar's efforts had a ripple effect that extended far beyond their own lives. They inspired countless others to take up the mantle of kindness and compassion, creating a global movement that celebrated the power of empathy and respect. As they looked back on their lives, Clara and Neymar knew that they had been blessed with the opportunity to make a difference. They had faced challenges and obstacles, but they had also experienced the incredible joy that comes from lifting others up and creating positive change in the world. And as they sat together, reminiscing about the night that had brought them together and set them on this path, they knew that they would never stop striving to make the world a better place, one small act of kindness at a time. For they had learned that true greatness is not measured by the size of one's bank account or the number of trophies on a shelf. It is measured by the impact one has on the lives of others, by the love and compassion one shows to those who need it most. And in that moment, as they looked out at the world they had helped to shape, Clara and Neymar knew that they had achieved something far greater than any personal success or accolade. They had achieved a life well lived, a life dedicated to the service of others and the belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. With that knowledge, they smiled at each other, their hearts full of gratitude and love. They knew that their journey was far from over, that there would always be more work to be done. But they also knew that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead together, united by the bond they had forged and the values they shared. And so, hand in hand, Clara and Neymar stepped forward into the future, ready to continue their mission of spreading kindness, respect, and compassion wherever they went. They were living proof that a single act of kindness, a single moment of courage and understanding, could change the course of a life and, perhaps, the course of the world.